Well, hello. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever the time happens to be where you are, I send you warm greetings. I trust that you are well. This is your girl, Amma, on Transformations, and on this page, we only look at changing things positively. So to transform is to change. In order to change, you have to be first. So what I'm discussing today is, Annie, hello sis. I am discussing existing relationships that are not satisfactory and require renegotiation to improve. That is what I'm discussing. It's a new platform. Enough. So I'm going to have to take a few minutes and do a bit of sharing to my usual crowd, just so they know that I am here. I want to invite them to join us so we can discuss. Now I'm live, so can you watch the background noise? That's enough. Put it to one side. Thank you. So please do me that honor. If you've also chanced on the page in the early stages, please click that share button. Please tell people Amma is having a conversation. This is English medium, so you can invite absolutely anybody of your choice. But I'm discussing relationships and renegotiating relationships, changing the terms and conditions of existing relationships. And anybody who's done that will tell you it's one of the hardest things to do, because people become comfortable with the status quo. People are happy, especially if people are busy taking advantage of you. Wanting to renegotiate that relationship is going to experience a lot of resistance, because the other party is happy with things as they are. So good morning, your end. I hope you are well. Welcome. You are not happy with the relationship, but the unfortunate thing for you is that your partner is happy enough exactly as it is. No need, just leave it on the tray.
I do nothing else.
Just leave it as it is. You might not be satisfied with somebody else turning you into a little slave, but that somebody else, the one who's made himself a slave master, is very happy with that arrangement, mind you. You might not be happy with the dissatisfaction somebody is letting out to you, but please understand that that person is not in a hurry to change what they do. Please understand that that person is comfortable with your discomfort. Understand that from the very beginning. But I do have a disclaimer to make anyway. My disclaimer is simple. Most of what I'm about to say to you is from personal experience. Some of it is also from interactions with people in coaching roles, from friends, from family. Yeah, sometimes it will sound like it's you because life happens to us generally. What happens to Amma happens to you. If you've ever spoken to me about a relationship, if I'm ever citing, it will be loosely citing. Nothing would actually be prescriptive enough for anybody to identify you unless it's me. All right, good morning. Solo, do something else apart from kissing. Goodness, Solo, something else. Sir Juliet, hi. Yeah?
What should I do?
Go have a rest. When I need you, I'll call you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Wait, what time is it now?
If it's not 6 o'clock, it's close enough to it. So I want to talk to you about renegotiating terms. Terms and conditions which are not working for you, but will very likely work for the other person you are in a relationship with. I will start with relationships from an amorous point of view. We will look at business relationships. We might look at different things as context, but what I'm saying is applicable generally. Clement, hello. Inshaba, hello. You will run soon, no problem. Save it somewhere where you can find it, so that when you come back, it's easy to identify. I want to say this in the general open forum so people can understand what I'm saying. And when somebody you are in a relationship with begins to renegotiate the terms, what that means is that they are dissatisfied with the status quo. Understand that for sure. Why do you want to change? But everything was fine. No, everything was not fine. Everything was fine only for you. Everything was working best for you. You stopped thinking about the other person's perspective. You stopped considering your partner's perspective, and that's why it's become necessary for your partner to renegotiate. Understand that. Take ownership for some of those things, just so the process becomes easier. The other party is not going to go back to whatever was dissatisfying them in the first place. The other party has now realized that in this life, just as you are entitled to comfort and happiness, so are they. Just as you are entitled to be heard, just as your feelings do matter in this partnership, so does mine. So let me give you the first case study. The first case study is a Ghanaian person who's married, Ghanaian woman who's married. And before you get married, a lot of people will give you advice. Be clear that all the advice you will get from the typical Ghanaian setting is male-centric, masculine-centric. You should not do this. It means that they are looking for the comfort of the man. You should do this. It means they are looking for the servitude of the man. You must do this means that it's something which advantages a man. Please understand it. And it will be told to you by men and women. Because the women have been so brainwashed by certain things that they don't even realize what it is they are passing on. They think it's good advice. They actually think they are helping you stay longer in a relationship. But I'm saying to you, there's no point staying in an abusive relationship. And an abusive relationship is the typical Black, Ghanaian, African, Afro-Caribbean arrangement. In this typical relationship, there is a man. The man doesn't want to lift a finger. So he finds a woman, and this woman does everything and anything at his whim for his satisfaction. It is supposed to be good. It's marketed as a good thing for the woman. But when a woman actually sits logically and considers it for 5 minutes, it's difficult to find anything that's good for you. People have done that for years, and people have realized that we do have one life only. There is no need that my one shot at life is spent only appeasing you. So, when you find yourself in one of those relationships and you begin to realize this, you need to renegotiate. You need to change the terms and conditions of the arrangement. You need Rosa, you're welcome. Adjoa, you're welcome. Sister Comfort and Juliet, you're welcome. That other person needs to understand. But what was established doesn't work for you. Might have worked for them, but isn't working for you. Sometimes you need to be very vocal, very articulate and say so. Because, funnily enough, a lot of the non-verbal signs we give people, and a lot of the non-verbal communication we do is actually lost on the other party. But let me talk through the process anyway, slowly. I want everybody to understand the person who needs to do it and the person who might end up being the resistive recipient of the process. If somebody begins to renegotiate their terms and conditions of an existing relationship, it means that that relationship no longer meets their needs. It doesn't meet their expectation. Something is not quite right. Just as that person is trying to renegotiate, you also need to introspect. You need to have a look at the terms and conditions with which you've operated and ask yourself, has it been applied fairly? Have I looked at the person's will as well? Or is it just mine? Have I considered that I want a bill-paying partner, but this bill-paying partner then needs to come home and have to cook and clean and service me in the evening, that it's not physically possible for this person to manage all those things? Dear, hello, Sister Kuya, welcome. It's not possible, physically impossible for this person to manage. If you are smart enough in the early days of renegotiation to actually realize what's happening and to meet the person halfway, it is less likely to be shocking to you. It might actually be renegotiated, also suiting your terms. But if you are the clueless one or you are resistive, what will happen is that the person will go right ahead and renegotiate anyway, and it will not suit you at all. And when that happens is when you hear people moaning, complaining, whining in public. But in today's world, there is nobody whose life needs to be secondary just for your pleasure. Nobody else's satisfaction needs to be relegated just for your comfort. We all need to come to that understanding. This is the status quo of the current life we are living. All lives matter, regardless of color, and all lives matter, regardless of sex. A man's life matters, and a woman's life matters. A woman will try and appease you will try and accommodate you, but it should be two-way. It should be a two-way street. So I'm talking from the perspective of a marriage, a typical African marriage, a typical black people marriage, because that's the context I know best. But you will find that it's actually not too different from the typical marriages from most of the minority ethnic groups I've spoken to recently. Before I speak, I always do a little bit of research. So I spoke to my Asian friends, and they were telling me it's exactly the same. Yeah? I spoke to my Jamaican friends, not too much different. Spoke to my Black American friends, very similar. So let's go. You find yourself in a relationship where somebody's taking advantage of you. You find yourself in a relationship where you give so much and you don't get anything back. You find yourself in a relationship when you are stressed most of the time, and it has very little to do with you, your needs, but it is centered around somebody else. You find yourself in a relationship where you are supposed to give and take only when it's convenient for somebody else. That relationship might be one you look at carefully. If your relationship is not meeting your needs emotionally, if it is not meeting your needs socially, if it is not making you happy, it is not improving your life, if it's become oppressive, if you end up having to do everything and the other person is not interested in anything, my dear, it is worth looking at this relationship. It needs to be renegotiated very quickly before you become resentful. Because if you are not smart enough to renegotiate, if you don't change the terms and conditions to suit what you need mentally, you will spiral down a path you would not want. And that's a place I do not want to find any of our sisters. And that's why I am talking today. You are in a relationship. For whatever reason, your needs are not being met. The Babs, you're welcome, my brother. You are being taken advantage of. Something is not going your way. I mean, you give and you take. There are days when you will give and there are days when you take. That is normal. That's not what I'm referencing. I'm talking about those relationships when you give, and usually you get absolutely no gratitude. In return, you get a bit of abuse and some more abuse and even more abuse. That somebody takes you for granted totally, regardless of how much output you put in. My dear, you need to pause. And it's how to renegotiate that process I want to talk about today. So my first case study is a woman who's married. A woman who's married to a man she apparently loves, and a man who apparently loves her. They are married, they are young. People think that they make a very attractive couple. People cite them in public with how polite she is, how serviceable she is, how kind-hearted she is, how amazing she is. She is the epitome of the wife material. Every man should want to have a wife like that, and that's probably true. But the truth of the matter is that this sister is as resentful as heck. She hates being taken advantage of. She hates people praising her because she knows it's not true. She is not appreciative of this nonsense, but she's just caught herself in it. She's gone along with it. She is becoming depressed because she's gone along with something she disagrees with, something that is not in her interest. She went looking for a partnership, but what she's got is slavery, not partnership. Being pat on the back and congratulated just so you can receive extra foolishness does not mean that you are appreciated. It just means that people want to keep you where they like. It doesn't mean they appreciate much of what you do. Because if the person you are with really appreciates what you do, you will hear it in the way he speaks. You will hear it in the testimony he gives others about you. You will see it in his conduct. But in this sister's case, this man wanted a maidservant who could also warm his bed. And he wanted one who would do so legally, with the support of the entire society. That's all he wanted. And that is his definition of a wife. Susie, hello sis. Gifty, oh, Ange, hello. When she found herself in this relationship, obviously living in the West, she spoke to her Western friends and they were like, oh, sod it. Get rid of the bugger, he's an idiot. And yes, he was an idiot at that time. We've got to admit. But then she also sat down and realized, you know what, this guy does have some qualities. So she went to see a professional. And this is what the professional says to her. My dear, your husband is doing all these things, and I bet you 99.9% of the time he is unaware of how you feel. He doesn't even realize that he's taking advantage of you. He saw his dad do it and his grandfather do it before him. So he's never really interrogated with this before, and he has no idea what he's actually putting you through. The first thing you need to do is to articulate how you're feeling to this person and see what his reaction is. Because his reaction will let you know whether it's purposeful or not. Hello, Nadu. Thank you. Hamidu, you're welcome. You're welcome. His reaction will tell you whether it was intentional or whether it was accidental. She calls her husband. She says to her husband, look, my dear, do you love me? He says, very much so. Am I a good wife? You are the very best. Why am I a good wife? And this is the critical question. This guy says, you are the very best wife because you do not complain. You do exactly what is expected of you, without moaning, without ceremony. Everybody loves you in my family because you serve so well. My mother loves you because you are so kind. You even give financially to support our problems at home. Oh my God, my dear, I love you so much. But listen to what this guy is saying. He loves the things she does. He loves the convenience she brings. He loves the fact that she helps paying the bills, and that she even extends her generosity to his mother and to his sisters at home. What this guy is actually saying is that I love taking advantage of you. So she let him speak, just as the counselor had asked her to. He continues for a while, and he lists all the things he loves about this woman. And then she says, are you done, love? He says yes. So she asked the next question. So which of those things you love about me is actually personal to me? Which of those things is actually me and not a general woman? Because all these things can be done by any woman. Any woman can cook. Any woman can clean. Any woman can be your servant. Any woman can be quiet. Hello, Suze. Good evening, Pa. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining. Please hit the share button for me. Share the video for me. Tell people that Amma is talking about transforming relationships. How many of those things you love about me is me? And then the guy is shocked. What do you mean? Well, which of those things you listed is personal to me? Only me and no other woman. He couldn't answer the question. So which of those things does not involve me serving you or helping you? He couldn't answer the question. In which part of this love relationship is there reciprocity? He couldn't answer the question. So you don't reciprocate a lot of the things I do. He is shocked. He is stunned. Kwabna, you are welcome. He is shocked. He is stunned. He is gobsmacked. He's never thought about it that way because he's never seen anything else. So she says to him, so what is actually going on here is modern day slavery. The guy is surprised. What is actually happening in this marriage is one person being taken advantage of, not just by the husband, but by the husband's family and people around you. You bring your friends home on Saturday without notice, but you do know that I work Monday to Friday just as you do. You do know that I cook every meal in this house. You do know that I wash the kids, I teach the kids, and I do everything about the kids. And even that will take me to the tipping point. But to add insult to injury, every Saturday your friends are here. And it's an open restaurant. Any friend can request anything of their choice, and I will have to deliver with a smile on my face. You love me for it. Your friends love me for it. My friend, what you are actually asking of me and what I have delivered for you is not a marriage. It is a cook's service. I am cooking and I'm not getting anything in return. But I have been told that that's okay, and it's not okay anymore. It is not okay anymore. The guy is like, oh my God. So she asks him, this home, is it my home or is it our home? He says, it's our home. Really? She says, yes. Okay. Let's have a conversation about what you do in this house. He says, but I provide. No, darling, we provide. You pay the bills just as I pay the bills. You buy food just as I buy food. And then I even do things for the kids extra on top. You provide and I provide. That is the only partnership in this house. But on top of the provision we all do, I also send to your mother. I send to this, I send to that. Where is the reciprocity? Mr. Man is shocked yet again. Sister Akos, you're welcome. Yet again. Yet again. Do you understand that every chore in this house, which is ours, is only delivered by one of us? Of course, my sis, you're welcome. Do you appreciate that there's only one person who does the giving in this relationship? So this is a give and take relationship. You are absolutely right, but one person gives and the other person takes. Now at this point, he is stunned, doesn't know what to say, doesn't have any comeback. Processing what he's just been told. He has just been called a bully. And he didn't realize he was. He's just been called somebody who bulldozes another person in the name of love. He did not realize this. He's just been told that he is selfish because he is. He just didn't know. And he's trying to find ways in which he would come back, just as the counselor had said he would. So she has her pen ready and gives it to this guy, and he says, give me 10 things that you do in this house as part of this partnership, apart from paying for some of the bills. He thinks for some minutes. He can't answer the question. Okay. On the other side, can you make a list of the things I do in this house outside the paying of the bills? So the cooking of the meals, the cleaning of the house, the washing of the kids, the teaching of the kids, the calling of family and friends, providing entertainment for people he loves. Hello, Sister Mimi. Good afternoon and welcome. Good afternoon. He makes a long list. And then he himself began to realize how unfair the balance is. But then he turns around and he says, but it's a woman's job. And she asks, really? He says, yes. Well, go back and ask your ancestors. At the time when a woman's job was cooking, a woman did not pay bills. So, mister, are we modern or are we ancient? Which one is it? Does he know? Are we modern or are we ancient? Or do we amalgamate it when it suits you? And he's looking at her like, oh my word, there is no getting out of this one, because there isn't. A lot of us will need to have that discussion with our partners. Because I don't think this sister I am actually describing is too different from a lot of us. I definitely saw episodes of that in my own relationship too. I told you guys before, I wanted to be wife material. I listened to the nonsense people said and nearly killed myself trying to deliver what was not feasible. We must understand why unconditional love does not exist. Okay, Pabna, when I finish, I will go and watch it. I love it when people present intellectual write-ups. I know what you deliver, so I am really excited. That's my brother Kwabena Bigini Tevia. Check him out. Do check him out. What he puts out is quality stuff too. Cooking for the friends according to what they want kills you. Yes, sis. People loved her fish. Other people didn't love fish. They wanted chicken. So this sister on a Saturday afternoon, on the one day during the week, because Sunday is all church. And when they go to church, she has to cook her food because people love what she cooks. People look forward to her bringing food to church. So she does cooking on the Saturday, and then she cooks some more to take to church. And then she cleans after the people who've eaten in church. And then she does this, she does that, she does that, she does that. There is absolutely no time for this sister. She was a modern day slave. Slavery in the name of a marriage. Slavery in which the enslaver does not even realize his role in the slavery. So, step number 1 in renegotiation is actually clearly saying what the problem is, but putting it across in a way which is undeniable and understandable to everybody in this relationship. Mate, it's not working for me. Mate, it's not working for me because of this, for that, for that. Thank you, Kwabna. Yes, I am 24. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm very grateful. Mate, it's not working for me alone is inadequate, because then people would say you are whining. You are moaning, you are complaining. You do not want that. Mate, it's not working for me because of X, Y, and Z. Sometimes alone is not even enough. Sometimes you need to be very graphic and give the other person a pen and a paper, just as the sister did, and says, write what you contribute to this house, except paying for some bills. And then write what I contribute to this house, except paying for some bills. The next activity is how much of what I do is actually reasonable and how much of what I do is unreasonable. Supplementary demands, which will break me down for no reason, just so other people would say that your wife is subservient. Is that what you are after? You bring people home to come and enjoy my food. It's amazing. Do you think for a minute what it takes to cook all those meals on a Saturday afternoon without warning? Do you know? Do you appreciate what it takes to be churning that out consistently when I am on breaking point anyway in this home because there's absolutely no support? Do you realize the effort it takes to speak to your mom after your friends leave on a Saturday evening when I am mentally and emotionally exhausted and I am resentful as heck? But I have to fake it and laugh and smile and agree to send your mom another £100 because it's convenient, because I want to continue to be a good girl, because I want everybody to love me. Do you understand what it takes? And let me tell you the sincere thing here. I will no longer do it. I will no longer do it. Because it makes absolutely no sense to do so. I won't do it anymore because it makes no sense to continue to do it. In this relationship, we are at a crossroads. I am no longer going to be anybody's slave. We have two choices. As for not being a slave, that is not negotiable. The only thing which is negotiable is whether that happens in this partnership or not. So my question is, what is it going to be? Are you willing to renegotiate the terms and conditions so that it works better for all of us? Or are you only willing to look at your benefits at the expense of mine, in which case we do not have a deal at all? You're going to have to try it elsewhere. Yeah. But that's not how we started marriage. Yeah, I didn't know better at that time. Now I do. Now I do. And once I do, there is no going back. But that is not what the Bible says, really. Where in the Bible does it list a lot of the things that you asked me to do? Where in the Bible does it say that I have to be your slave? Where in the Bible does it say, do not love me as you love yourself, but love only yourself at my expense? Please show me that verse in the Bible. When you start a transformation process, please understand, as I said earlier, the other party is unlikely to be a willing participant in your transformation if you've not prepped the ground very well. Yaba, welcome, my sister. Good afternoon. Osei, welcome. No, Edu, Clement, I am still 24. Thank you. Next question, please. Next question. Thank you. We are going on a journey. We are doing a journey of transformation. In order to do this journey successfully, we need to know what to expect. We need to know how to rebut some of those things you will get. And you need to understand the sorts of things that will help you. Yaba. My dear, what kind of number is that? My sister, respect yourself. All right? Control your guts. Your instincts are wrong. Please hold them back. That is not my age, my dear. Take how many years off that one, and then you have my age. 24. Thank you. If you want to take that other number, it's entirely up to you. Not me. I reject it. That is my tactical age, my technical age, my acceptable age. Elijah, you're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. I am talking transformations. I am talking about changing things to suit a person who's been suffering for a while. Please understand. It is about being honest when your needs are not being met. It's about knowing when to say, hey, yes, I'm not blaming you 100% because I allowed you to think that I could be this wife material. Yes, I have done it for 10 years without complaining. But understand, my back has been breaking for 10 years. I have resented you for 10 years. And that is not healthy for any of us. Actually, usually when you are honest about how that makes you feel, the other party begins to understand. So she says to him, do you notice that these days when you approach me in the evening and you want to be intimate, I am not interested? He says, yeah, I thought maybe it might be an age thing. She says, no. I am still as frisky as heck, but I haven't got the energy. I cannot satisfy yet another whim from you at my expense. So no, I am not playing that particular one. No, I am not sick. No, I haven't become frigid. No, it is not age. No, it is none of the things that you blame. Yes, it is all due to being taken advantage of in this relationship. In this relationship. So what I'm saying to you is that if you happen to be one of those people who's managed to find yourself in a relationship which is accidentally oppressive, when you find yourself in a marriage where you can't speak, it's not normal. It's not normal. Don't allow anybody to tell you that's the only way. It's not. That's how my grandfather did it. Yes, but the world has moved on strides since your grandfather's era. I'm telling you. My sisters no longer need to be slaves for the sake of it. We want to be equal partners. We want to be able to give you our best. We want to be able to perform cheerfully. We want to do it honestly and sincerely, without resentment, and that's what you want anyway. If I'm going to cook for you, you want me to do so cheerfully, so I can give you the best meals I can get. If I'm going to entertain your guests, you want me to do it cheerfully, believe me. You do not want me to do it half-heartedly. If I'm going to do all the things you love about me, it would be even better if I loved doing those things for you, because my needs are also met. Not because I've got to tick a box. Not because somebody expects it of me. Not because I see you as a bully. But because I feel that I want to do it for you. My brothers, that's exactly what you want, believe me. A lot of people are doing things for you with resentment, but do not have the courage to tell you. A lot of your wives are going through a lot of things, but not necessarily telling you. It is the reason why your relationship is not satisfactory to either of you. Because when your wife feels that way, she will not be able to deliver the output you want anyway. We underestimate how such small things affect our mental health. Thank you, Yaba. A lot of the women are depressed. And because they are depressed, they cannot give you enjoyment the way you want and the way you expect. It is always half-hearted, even when they are in bed with you. The performance is terrible, but they want you off them. So they will add a backtrack to it just to get you off them as quickly as they can. It is not satisfactory to you because the person is not a willing participant. Understand this. Person is doing it under duress is not the same as somebody who's doing it wholeheartedly and willingly. So renegotiating for this sister started with actually getting this guy to acknowledge the problem. Getting this guy to understand that she can no longer continue the way she has done for the last how many years. Getting this guy to understand his role in tipping her mental states out of balance. Getting this guy to accept that he has been a bully. He has bullied his wife into a lot of things and had not even thought about it himself before, but he had been a bully. Getting this guy to know that it's not on to bring people to the house without warning. That it's not on to have people without clarifying with his wife first whether she can entertain and she has the resources to do so. So as part of this discussion, the question then became, so have you actually thought for 2 seconds when you bring your friends and I'm busy running around the house, have you thought for 2 minutes where the ingredients usually come from? Just so I can cook the last minute or next decision. Have you thought for 2 minutes what it means to be able to cook off my cuff without adequate preparation, worrying about the taste all the time and the stress it puts me through without your knowledge? He says no. Have you thought for a minute? Have you thought for 1 minute how this affects me? No. Yes, my sister was stupid enough to let her husband think she is superwoman. None of us is superwoman. None of us is. We may pretend to do so successfully, but a lot of us are bleeding, seriously bleeding as a result of that pretense. So when you find yourself in that relationship and it's no longer sustainable, you will have to renegotiate before we bury you. Many good women have died at the hands of people they love, and these men do not even know that they've played a part in the demise of their loved one. My wife, God bless his soul, but she should be here with a little bit of thoughtfulness from you. She should still be here with a little bit of partnership from you. She should still be here because she's not old enough to have suffered what she did. Sometimes it's easy when you have these discussions for people to think the blame lies with the men. It's not. Sisters, the blame lies with you. People can only treat you the way you accept. People can only treat you the way you allow. People can only treat you the way you will permit. And as long as you continue to allow and permit, everybody wants convenience. So people will treat you the way that is convenient for them. It is your job, and nobody else's job to communicate what works and doesn't work. It is your job, and nobody else's job to tell other people when it's unacceptable. It is your job, and nobody else's job to tell people that it no longer works for me. I tried it, but it's not working. Done. I'm done. You are sorry, but this time you are selfish. You first. If you want us to work together, I am up for teamwork. Thank you, Yaba. If you don't put you first, who will put you? When you've given all the energy elsewhere, what's left for you? What is left for you? As you always say, never settle for less. If you do, you will get less than you settled for, and you will be as resentful as heck. The mothers we celebrate, the noise we make about our mothers, if we knew how much our mothers suffered, if our mothers would have opened their mouths to communicate the stress they've experienced, the hate that they've had sometimes for the men. And it's not just resentment. For some women, it actually does develop into hate. Have you ever thought what it would feel like to live with somebody you hate? I can't think of it. To sleep with somebody you hate, it's unthinkable to me. To serve somebody you hate, I just can't comprehend it. But from the little bit of research I've done before discussing this topic, I have been gobsmacked by some of the things that people have told. So my question to people who were respondents was, is your partnership a genuine partnership? 99% of my respondents who were female said no. No, it's not a partnership. Second question, how will you describe your relationship, your partnership, your marriage? And in most cases, one is a servant and one is being served. So I asked the ones who admitted to serving, and I said to them, are you serving honestly? Are you serving sincerely? Are you serving because you want to serve? Or are you serving because you have to? And 100% of the return says that they are serving because they have to. So I said to them, why? Because the good book says there will be no reward to anything you do resentfully. Whatever you do, in order for you to receive reward from the Most High, it has to be done sincerely and in truth, honestly. Can you genuinely tell me that what you do for your husband is done sincerely, in truth? Can you tell me that running around doing all these things for the kids whilst he's lounging doesn't breed resentment in your heart? Nobody could say that. And so I finished that with this in mind, that in most cases people have found themselves caught. In most cases people feel they have no option than to perform. In a lot of cases people are in situations which is unhealthy, which is toxic for them, but they don't see any other alternative, so they just carry on. It is the status quo. No, it's not. We all have one life, and I think it's respectful to the giver of that life that you live it to the best possible outcome. That you spend your life giving respect to the life you have. You spend your life actually enjoying some of it, because that's what our Maker wanted us to do. Yes, there are lessons. Yes, there are stresses, but we are here to enjoy and to appreciate and to praise Him and to thank Him. It's difficult for you to praise and to thank Him when you've allowed yourself to get to that point. So, step 1 in transforming and renegotiating a relationship is to openly and honestly evaluate that relationship for all its shortcomings, acknowledge the positives where it exists, and also being 100% brutally honest about the status of the things that bring you displeasure. Not much wrong with that. Healthy, if you ask me. The next point is to lead the other party to accept their role and contribution in creating this, and to acknowledge that if this relationship will be renegotiated, it will have to be done by both parties. Each person is going to have to accept that things will change. You need to be very clear about the things that will change, so there is no element of surprise. You will need to communicate clearly your new expectations, and if you can, the reasons why they have changed. And if you can't, sometimes you can't. There's not much you can do about it. Your feelings are your feelings. They might be very terrible, but they are your feelings. They are as valid as, even when you can't explain. Once the other person understands what's coming, you also need to find people who will help you get to where you want to be. So sometimes you find role models, and then you talk to these role models, and the role models will tell you the truth about their relationship. Please don't renegotiate your relationship with somebody's hypothetical marriage in mind. You will need to talk to that somebody so you understand the actual happenings in that marriage. Because sometimes what you think you perceive is not exactly what you want. So yeah, I am a woman. I am talking, and when I talk in this vein, people think that I'm not married. Yes, I am married. Been married for quite a long time. Yes, I am cooking. But I am cooking with pleasure. I am cooking today, and yesterday I didn't even come inside this kitchen. I didn't. Yesterday was a day I refused to come here. Everybody understood that need not to come. The kitchen was closed. Yesterday, other people were also going to cook, and I was also going to enjoy. Yesterday was a day when Amma was human, and Amma had needs, and those needs were valid, and it superseded what I normally do in this relationship, and that was absolutely fine. Now that I've gone and I've taken care of my needs, now that I'm happy enough that I'm not oppressed in a relationship, now that I am doing this in the kitchen, I instigated it, I wanted to do it, I am doing it, and I am doing it cheerfully. I do not mind at all. I do not resent it. Staya, but this is not even dinner. I am cooking tilapia and okra soup for Banku. That's the first item. And when I finish, I will make a tomato stew for the fridge. And then if I can, I will cook something else. If I can't, it can wait. Oh, you can feel the love in the food, yeah, but I am cooking it lovingly. I am cooking it because I want to. And let me tell you the real secret. The real secret with renegotiating things like that is to make sure everybody understands their role. So if I show you, I am cooking, but all the prep has actually been done for me. All the prep has been done for me. So I think this was my daughter's cutting. Not the best cutting in the world, but still cutting. Everybody has cut things, they've packed things, they've packaged things for me, and it's all good to go. And all Amma is going to do, the washing up has been done. Yeah. Caboose and dal. And all Amma is going to do is to do the bits that only I can do, the way we all want it. I can cook and combine. I can make it. I am not resentful because I feel like everybody has done their bits. Each person has performed their role. And because other people have done their bits, when Amma is called to do my bits, I do so cheerfully. I do so happily. Oh yeah, but yes. But I have to be honest about it. And that's why I wanted to have this conversation. All this is happening because I have actually communicated my needs. I have been quite open about what I can and cannot do. I have not pretended to be superwoman because I'm not. I am not superwoman. I have said everything, and people have heard me because they know that when I speak, I mean it. It's not working for me. I will be the first person to open my mouth and tell you it is not working for me. It is not meeting my needs. When I finish cooking, I will sit, and somebody else would also, the kids will share the washing up. So it's not just Amma who's doing everything. Each person in this partnership, each person in this group also needs to perform a role. Each person has to play a part. When everybody has played a part and you play your part, you do not resent it. I don't resent it. When you feel that other people have taken advantage of you, you talk, and people who genuinely love you, listen. The kids, they know that if I'm broken, then the drive to work tomorrow is going to be dangerous because I cannot concentrate. They understand what that means when I can't focus and I can't drive, guaranteeing my safety. They know what it means for all of us. And for that reason, when I ask that they prepare, it is done. Did you hear anybody complaining when I asked them to do it? No. They understand. That's what we all need. There is no one person who has to meet everybody's need. Mom is also human, just like everybody else. Mom deserves some rest when she can. Ease it for mom when you can, so that mom is more cheerful, so that mom is less angry, so that mom is less aggressive. Absolutely. You see Saddam's? Yes. Invite Saddam's for me. Oh, Saddam's is here already. Precious, I've been doing it, since God knows how long. We started building slowly, you know. Now they can cook things. Still disastrous most of the time, but we are building to it. We are. So, what I wanted to discuss is about changing. Please understand that in this house, it's not always that everybody has chipped in the cooking. In my home, there have been times when people always said to me that they preferred my cooking, and I'm sure they still do. What they did not understand was that my cooking doesn't mean that I have to cut everything. My cooking does not mean that I have to prep everything. My cooking can still happen when everybody chips in and everybody helps. And when that is done, my cooking is done more cheerfully. And because it's done more cheerfully, it tastes even better. When we finish, it is still my cooking, done by a happy woman, not a dissatisfied one, done by a cheerful woman, not an angry one, done by one who wants to serve with love, a group of people who help me serve us. So nobody is a servant. Nobody is a cook. Nobody is taken advantage of. We want to eat, and we all make sure it is done. We want to eat, and we all help to ensure that it happens. We want to eat, but we don't do it at somebody else's, the expense of somebody else's mental health. So yeah, mom is here cooking. If you are not careful and you have a look at this scenario I described, you will jump to the romantic conclusion and think it's effortless. It's not true. It's a hopeless life. What you can see now follows a whole family meeting, maybe a series of family meetings. It does. What you see now follows me being honest about certain things and articulating it quite clearly. What you see now follows a group of people who've heard me clearly state what bothers me, clearly state what I need, and they love me enough to try and meet their need so I can meet everybody's need. When you became a single mom, you decided to teach them. Yeah, but you know, you don't even need to be a single mom to teach them. Some of these moms soldiering on need help just as desperately as we do. Some need help even more than we do. They just don't feel empowered enough to ask. It is fine to ask. Saddams, be careful. Be very careful. Yaba says she started at age 8. And we started with them making me cups of tea, making all sorts of things. And then we transitioned to them becoming independent for themselves. And then they transitioned to becoming helpful in the collective. And now we are all useful to each other in the collective. It works for me. It works for them. No complaints from me. No complaints from them either. When you are able to renegotiate. So that is one example of an existing relationship which has been renegotiated. Yeah, in my house, I did all the cooking. In my house, I did most of the running around. That wasn't working for me. Including running around after the kids, even when they were getting bigger. Because I had always done the running around as they were kids, they did not anticipate anything else. They thought it was just mom who had to run around. Give it to me, if I were in the trap next one, my kids thought that mom was superhuman. And I had to confess, nope, mom isn't. She is an ordinary human. She would love to claim to be special, but she's not. Abner, good evening, you are welcome. My next question becomes, what needs renegotiating in your relationships? Have you got the balls to do it? Have you got the guts to be sincere about your needs? Are you able to honestly say what works for you and what doesn't? And if you are not brave enough to do so, what is stopping you? Have you thought of the implications of living in any other way, under any other circumstances? Is it difficult to renegotiate? Absolutely. They cook the British, and you do the Ghana. And even when I do the Ghana, they help me with the prep. So breakfast today was made by the kids. I made cocoa, because we had Hausa cocoa, and we had cheese melts. Hausa cocoa delivered by El Moi. Cheese melts delivered by the kids. Enjoyment by all involved. Enjoyment all round. Resentment not visible. Happiness and satisfaction, yes. And all that is possible because I am willing to be honest about it. It doesn't make me any less of a woman. Being a woman is not synonymous to being a cook. Being a wife is not synonymous to being oppressed. It's not. Being a mom does not mean your kids walk all over you. That's not right. That's not true either. And anybody who says otherwise is just repeating the broken record. They just are repeating the broken record. Yes, Adams. So I have a confession for the men. On behalf of my sisters who are not ready yet to tell you they have needs. Take it from Amma. They do have needs. They may not have told you them yet, but they still have those needs. Yeah, but they will never do it because you always do it. They will never do it because you've never suggested that you are less than happy doing it all the time. Why will they come to the kitchen when food will turn up without them coming? And if that's the case, why should they come? It's human nature to take the easiest possible route. So if food will be present without helping, why should he help? Have you given him any reason why he should inconvenience himself and help? Does he understand that you also have neurons and that you get tired? Have you told him? Because if you don't tell him, naturally, he will assume you don't. And he will prefer to continue as usual. What needs to be renegotiated in your relationship? And do you know how to go about doing it successfully? You know, the very macho men you see, they are usually the most helpful at home. That's the problem. That's the issue a lot of you don't know. The men whose wives adore them. The men whose wives give them everything they want. They have a secret they've not told you. They have a secret they've not told you. If cooking makes you a kotobonku, what do you think cooking makes the woman then? A kotofufu? Or which one? If you are happy to eat the kotofufu's food, I'm sure she's also happy to eat the kotobonku's food. I am sure she wouldn't mind at all. I want my sisters to understand many of these brothers do not know that we do have feelings. It is very alien to them because their mothers pretended not to have it. Their sisters pretend they don't have it. And so when you do have it, they don't know what to make of it. Alithia, let me show you what I'm cooking. I'm cooking my new rendition of soup for banku. So this is the tilapia oily bit, and this is the green okra bit. I've done it separate so we can recombine it in different ways. Some of us need it to be 100% oil free. The kids love the caramelized onion part, and I am not denying them because Mama wants to be careful. That is meal number one. Done with a smile on my face. Not an inch of resentment. They could not send their husbands. So no one ever seen a year and sneezing and was happy pretending on one cabin one. Do they? Don't know that's not how it is. Me. Emma is in bra. So one be one curtain has a good freezing here to watch it. Nasa. We're serious. What's the one I'm watching? Boy. Me. So you're some people who's a walk. One. Yeah. Some husbands cannot even be sent. Then there's a problem. There's a big problem. If you can't send your husband, if you can't request for support in providing what the unit needs, then there's an issue. That's in Saddam's world. Saddam's world will shift. When Mrs. Saddam communicates that she needs to change things, and Mr. Saddam realizes that he will not find what if his father found in this century anymore, and Mr. Saddam realizes that it's not good for a man to be alone, Mr. Saddam will modify a few things, believe me. But until Mr. Saddam gets to that point, as long as there's a sister willing to provide everything he wants at her great inconvenience, Mr. Saddam does not need to change. That's the thing. The men don't need to change because the status quo works for them. Why change and make life difficult when what you currently have works perfectly fine for you? I didn't change anything. Pearl, you're welcome. You're welcome, my sister. So I started asking, what needs to be transformed in your life? The other relationship, which is tricky to negotiate, is business. A lot of us have started businesses with family and friends. But we thought that doing businesses with family members and friends meant that it was a friendship. It is not a friendship. Doing business is doing business, full stop. Doing business has some core principles, full stop. Doing business means that you will have to be accountable at some point, full stop. Hello, Sister Viv. So myself and Sister Viv, we are sisters and we want to start trading. So Sister Viv and I, we put money together. She has £2,000, I have £50. We put it together and we start trading. We may even register the business in joint names, but the capital invested was never discussed. That sort of relationship is going to be problematic going forward, especially when the returns begin to come in. Because how do we distribute it? In my mind, Sister Vivian is my sister. So we put in she put in £2,000 and I put in £50. But when the profit comes, because we are sisters, we will share it 50-50. That's my expectation. Sister Viv knows she probably went to take the money from a loan. She will have to service that loan regardless of who she did business with. She will have to repay that loan even if I am unaware of it. She invested more. Yaba, that's one of the things I want to discuss because there's a big issue which has turned up on my table at the moment. Two people went into business. They wanted to start business. One person says, this is what I have. The other person says, it's okay, bring it. But obviously, the person who says, it's okay, bring it, was expecting that the other party has common sense and will understand the principle of per capita investment. So if you invest 5% of the capital, you expect 5% of the returns. If you put in 90% of the capital, you can expect 90% of the return. Obviously, in defense of the other person, because she knew that she didn't put in a lot of money, she also decided to put in a lot of her time. She decided to put in a lot of her soul and her passion. In her mind, she assumed that the extra passion evened out and that they were equal partners, but they were not. They were not. This business is now thriving, and it's a huge problem between the two parties because we don't talk, because we don't establish. So another relationship which requires renegotiation, very typically in our community, is that relationship in business, where we go into partnerships without clearly defined roles. When we go into partnerships assuming that it works on the same principle as friendship. Yeah, but it's a huge one. This is a difficult one, very difficult one for both parties, because she says, but I've worked more than she has. She put in more money, and that's why I knew. And because I knew that I didn't put in as much as she did. I put in more work. And it's true. She put in more. The other party accepts. But the question is, so what percentage of effort makes up the lack of capital invested? And that relationship was not clearly defined at the start. So this sister of mine is still in the process of renegotiating a business with a loved one. It's a very difficult process. It's a very messy process, but it needs to be done because otherwise the resentment will breed even more. The company is only now, the business is now beginning to be successful. It's not become successful yet. And when it becomes even more successful, this argument is going to fester. This argument it will degenerate into something else if it's not dealt with. Yes, Alithia. And the problem is, what I told you about somebody's marriage and what I'm telling you about somebody's business arrangement is still one and the same. When people go into partnerships and arrangements without clearly communicating the terms of engagement, without clearly stating your expectations and your need, and making sure it is understood by all parties. You got married. You wanted a husband. He got married. He wanted a servant. You thought that he asked you to marry you because he wanted a conversation partner. He thought he married you so that he can meet his needs, have his kids, raise his kids, and generally make his life easier. Both of you have become disaffected because each one of you is not getting what you bargained for because you did not talk to each other about your expectations. Everything, even in marriage now, pen and paper will have to work. You will have to open your mouth and tell somebody what you expect. You will have to clearly state what you can tolerate and you can't tolerate. You have to define roles in your relationship, and that's a transformatory thing most of us will have to engage with at some point. I use the business one because it's easier for you to see that I was actually bringing you back to the personal relationship. Just as in business, most of you were saying that you need to clarify the terms of engagement and the terms of enjoyment. Is the same way you would have to do it in a relationship as well. You would do all the cooking, I would do all the financing, and then we will share X and Y. You will do this, I will do this, and then we will enjoy this together. Just as you have to negotiate it in a business. just as you have to clearly state your expectations, is the same way you do so in personal relationships as well. If you haven't started that relationship, you are one of the lucky few. If you've already started the relationship, you are in the same position as this client of mine. You will have to go back to an existing relationship. You will have to call the other participants in that relationship. You will have to clearly state that the way it is right now is not meeting your needs or expectation. And you will have to tell them exactly what you need so that they can also tell you what would work for them. And if possible, you come to an agreement and move forward in a way which is mutually acceptable and beneficial. That is precisely what you will need to do to transform your relationship. Precisely what you will need to do to transform your relationship. Just as it's difficult for this sister to go back to this loved one and say, I have taken a loan, so no, I can't share the profit with you 50-50, because part of what I get will have to go and service the loan. I took a bigger risk, and because I took a bigger risk, I need to have a bigger share of the returns. I am working more, and because I'm working more physically in the business, I also need that acknowledged. We need to adjust so that it takes care of all parties. Hello, Sister Joyce. It's been a long time since I saw you live. So this transformational page is 100% English medium. It discusses change. It's about change management. It's about making progress when you've not started exactly where you should have done. But it's going on a journey to restore what would potentially have been a lost cause, and taking charge, making sure that you recoup what might have been lost. That's what we are discussing. So I am actually discussing when you started a relationship with somebody, when you've gone into a partnership with false pretenses, when the other person is happy with the way things are progressing, but it honestly doesn't work for you. That's exactly what we are discussing. When the other party will be stunned that you are dissatisfied, that's what we're talking about. But you know that it's not possible for you to continue the way you started. Alithia, I'm telling you, you have to ask. You need to ask for your needs to be met, because it's human nature to deliver exactly what people demand. And if a person doesn't demand it, you will not do much. I'm lazy, you are lazy, so are we all. I want convenience, you want convenience, so do the rest of us. And I've shared a few things, as I said in the disclaimer at the beginning. Stop acting like Superwoman, because you are not Superwoman. Thank you, Alithia. That concept does not exist, and I don't know. The problem started with our mothers. Most of our moms struggled through a lot of stupid situations that they didn't need to tolerate. Most of our mothers had a cheerful smile on when they hated the very people that they were serving. Most of our mothers have illnesses, mental illnesses, as a result of things that they should not have tolerated. And it is these same mothers which are now used as the yardstick for disturbing young women. But my mom did not do that with my dad. Well, sorry, I am not your mom, and neither are you your dad. But that's the traditional role of the woman. Sorry, we are not having a traditional relationship. We clearly don't live in your family home. We clearly live in a place where you expect me to make certain compensations and adjustments and contributions. And just in that way, should you also make compensations and adjustments and contributions. Oh, anyway, you are welcome. You are welcome. So I made a video a couple of weeks ago called The Truth Our Mothers Didn't Tell. That's what I actually wanted to communicate. But I realized that that video was not interpreted the way I wanted people to interpret it. I am not calling your mother a liar. But I'm telling you that your mom may not have made you private to all the things that she thought. You would not have been private to all the feelings your mom had. You would not know anything about the resentment that she may have harbored. That's all I'm saying. That's all I've suggested. That's all I've suggested. We are on a journey. Well, I am on a journey with some people. I'm hoping that the general discussions will enable some of you also to tap into the discussions. When we finish these broadcasts, I need you to have a period of reflection. And today's reflection is very simple. Is your current relationship meeting your needs? Honestly. Are you an equal partner in that relationship? Do you feel valued in that relationship? Do you count? Are you a provider of somebody's need in that relationship? And are your needs met in the same way in that relationship? Can you sincerely say that that relationship is good for your mental health, for your physical health, and your emotional well-being? Can you say that sincerely? If you can, you are one of the lucky ones. Kudos to you. You are so lucky. The rest of us are jealous of you, including you. The rest of us are jealous, including you. The rest of us, though, we still have to work on achieving what you've got. If you are one of the ones like me who still has a bit of work to do, then my next question is, what should you do next? What will you do next? How do you renegotiate and make sure that it works better for you? How do you renegotiate? How do you go about communicating to people who know you, who think that you are happy with the scenario when you are clearly not? How do you go back to those people and you tell them, oh, by the way, for the last 12 years, I have lied about my satisfaction. Darling, it hasn't hit my notes. The noise I make in the activity, it was just to get you to finish quick. It wasn't floating my boat, honey. So I needed it to be done with quickly. No, the headaches I have is usually because the activity does not benefit me too. I'm sorry to have deceived you, my dear, but it didn't work for me. Darling, from today forwards, this is what might help me. It will make you uncomfortable. I apologize that it's not what you want, but this is my need. How many would have the bravado to do that? Would you be able to do that? Salam! I am very good. Good. Untitled? Danke for joining. Have you got the guts? Have you got the will? Have you got what it takes to renegotiate? Do you understand what it takes to renegotiate? Really, sincerely? Or have you got a romantic view of what you think it takes to renegotiate? I am very interested in those answers for me. I hope that you are also generating genuine answers for you, and that somehow all of us watching this broadcast will finish it knowing that we have evaluations to do of relationships, and we have honesty to practice when those relationships do not measure up to our needs. Our needs are our needs. They are as valid as anybody else's needs. Does not require explanation. The fear of facing the truth. The fear of what will happen. The fear for women of divorce is the reason why many women have stayed. But if they are honest, they are unhappy. they are resentful. So I'm asking, why are you afraid of being honest when you are not afraid of being unhappy? To me, unhappiness is more scary than anything else. I am scared of being resentful because I know very well what I can do when I am resentful. I know how spiteful I can be when I am unhappy. I know how horrible I can be when I allow people to take me for granted and then I finally reach my breaking point. I am awful. I know that. And because I know that, I am more scared of that than what happens when I am honest. I don't intend to make this one too long. I wanted to leave you here to ponder. I want to leave you here to think. I want to ask you, do you even know what it takes to do what you want? Do you appreciate the journey? Do you have the tools, the skills, the expertise to do so? If you don't, please know that sometimes it's okay to go seek help when you don't measure up to a task. Sometimes it's okay to go consult somebody who's walked that path, especially somebody who has professional, technical know-how in a process to walk you through it. Be thou transformed for your improvement in happiness. Be thou transformed mentally first before any gains can be made. So now I'm cooking a few things. I went here earlier. I've made my stew for banku, but I've made them separate because some people do have the oil, but some people don't. And then the next item cooking is my potopro soup. This soup, well, it's a stew in fact, vegetable stew, can be used for anything during the week. Once Mama has made the stew, the rice will be cooked by somebody else, and the meal will be enjoyed by all. The cuttings for making the stew was not made by Anna. The banku to be used is not even going to be cooked by Amma. Amma is going to walk off with you, and Amma will come when the banku is cooked, and then we will all have a fabulous meal, and each person will be ready to face another week from a fresh point. Be used to it now. Let me start here. You see. So let's go to another area so that what doesn't concern me doesn't experience me getting in the way of. And we need to switch on the lights. So give me a moment. Abana, come here. I am very sure that nonsense was done by you.
Those crackers?
Yeah.
I don't eat those crackers.
So why are they here? Because Minister has cleaned this place today. Why is it here? Take it to the bin, please. Thank you. So these are my kitchen assistants and my messing about assistants. Hey? I don't know. Have a look. We've got the grated carrots. Have a look and see what else we have for making. No, something which is fresh. Doesn't require steaming or cooking in any way. So we can make the sandwich filling. But yeah, meal cooked. Happy mama. No angry mama in sight. No resentment. And I think when I cook food this way, it tastes better because I actually do it with love. I take my time, bearing in mind the people who will enjoy it and the combinations they like. Yo. Why are you so immature?
She won't stop poking me into my key.
Because he won't. What do you mean?
He won't.
I was going to the bin. And
Excuse
if he
me.
stops me, and he shuts the door. So I'm trying to
The
climb
door was
over him
closed.
to put it in the bin, and then he's like, "No, I'm going first because I'm so immature."
So
And
she
then I tried to put it in the bin, and then he's like, "Oh my god, oh!"
She twerked on the
I
backside.
did not.
You do realize
How
that
can
I'm
I
actually on a
twerk?
broadcast, right?
Yes.
And that's it's all documented.
Yes.
The nutters that I live with.
Hey, I'm not being
Yalla.
immature. She's twerked during the old.
When I finish, I'll come talk to you.
Listen to yourself. Just listen to yourself.
Well, cooking has been done in my house. Yeah. Cooking has been done quite happily. Cooking, the food doesn't taste any different when the onions were not cut by me. The food does not taste any different when the tomatoes were not blended by me. It tastes the same way it would have done if I did everything on my own. But by making certain choices, by telling people that I have an issue, or anyway, I'm selling them. If you're interested, come see me.
There's nothing except that sound from yesterday.
Which one?
The one
Yeah, we can recycle that one, take that out. Have a look. If it's cut too big, make that one so we can make coleslaw out of it. Yeah.
Do you use mayo to make coleslaw?
Look. Just get the makings, cut the stuff, and I can make it.
What else is in the makings?
Whatever vegetables we have which don't need cooking or warming in any way. Yeah. And this is what we live with. But yeah, I'm here resting for a little bit. Adia, I see you, my brother. It's good to see you again. Yaba Precious, Sister Queer, and Alithea, you are the pictures I can see. Love you, love you, love you that you stay and you listen. I do pray and hope that what I'm trying to communicate, I am actually not saying in any way that my life is perfect. I am still renegotiating. My life is nowhere near satisfactory. I am still working on it. But I have managed to successfully negotiate some things, which is what I'm using as an example. I'm still working on certain things. One of the things that I've managed to successfully negotiate is how cooking is done in my house. I just wanted to share that with you in the hope that it will give you some hope that things can change. Relationships that have been set can be managed. They can be augmented successfully. It usually involves a lot of tears and a lot of sweat, but once you persist, it works. It works. And when it works for everybody much better. So look, Mama has done dinner. No screaming, no shouting. Mama will go and make sandwich makings. No screaming, no shouting. And then the actual sandwich making will be done by the kids for all of us. A lot of happy people, lunchtime. All that process, the anger that I would have felt if I hadn't been smart enough to ask for help, is not present. Feeling like everybody's maid is not one of the feelings I'm feeling right now. I feel like a in a team. I do feel that my skills are best deployed cooking because I am the best cook of everybody else, so I actually do the cooking. But the rest of them do understand the cooking involves prepping, and the prepping doesn't necessarily need to be done by the cook. And so the rest of them also prep. The cleaning up after does not involve the cook. I'm sat here, the cleaning is happening. And if I had made that cardinal mistake of wanting to do everything else and pretend to be superwoman, I would have been a very resentful superwoman, which is of no use to anybody. If your life was perfect, you won't love me that much because it will be too known. My life is as flawed as the rest of it. My life is as messy as everybody else's, even more messier than average. But in the mess, you have little successes, and sometimes you just have to find them. I'm just looking this day at what happens in my kitchen, and I am so grateful that I found the guts to be honest with the people in my life about what works for me too. That cooking what they like does not involve my slavery. That cooking what they like does not involve me breaking my back whilst they all lounge and enjoy. That cooking what they like needs to be a partnership with everybody playing a part. No woman left in the kitchen is my mantra. No woman left in the kitchen. And anytime I say that, the kids know that they've not pulled their weight. Mr. G. Anytime I say to the kids, no woman left in the kitchen, we all know that the balance has tipped the wrong end. And we have to do something about it. We have to learn, Yaba. You tell me what you know, and I will happily learn it. I'll tell you what I find, and we share it. When we do it that way, the community grows, the community develops, because we actually do have a lot of learning which needs to happen. My brothers, I told you a story of a woman and her husband, and the shock experienced by the husband, yellow Henry, and the shock experienced by the husband when she called him out, when she asked him to evaluate their marriage, when she asked him to demonstrate what he brings to the table besides paying some bills, what he brings to the family setting, which is personal. She asked him why he loved her, and all the things he said were realistic. His food was great. What he meant was that she was a good cook. Has nothing to do with being your wife. A person can be your cook without being your wife. That she was a good organizer. People pay governesses to organize their kids. That has nothing to do with being a wife. That she was really good socially. What he means is that she is a good hostess. People pay hostess to host without marrying them. That doesn't make a good wife. That is not a reason why you love a wife. You love a wife for personal things. You love a wife because you care about them. You love a wife because you want to protect them mentally, physically, socially, emotionally. You love them because of what they do, which is especially unique to them, not general. And this very gentleman could not bring one. Stunned that he had been taking advantage of somebody's daughter without even realizing. That he was selfish as heck and he did not even know. So my question is, how many of you might find yourself in the same position as this man without realizing? Making so many demands of the women in your life without realizing how it impacts on these women. Demanding this, demanding that, wanting that, and not appreciating what it costs the woman to deliver everything you want. That the perfection a lot of you want is not feasible, and we can't deliver it, even when we've deceived you to think we can. We are not superwomen. We bleed and we scar. And when we bleed and we scar, there is consequences for everybody, not just the women. Be thou transformed in your relationships, and it would be wonderful if the men would have this assessment. Realize your own shortcomings. Take action to fix it before your woman needs to renegotiate. If you fixed the problem before she needed to intervene, it will be less painful for all involved. That's all I wanted to say. You are no one Cinderella, and they laugh. Because you're not. And it's fine. When you are not, it's okay to let people know that you are not. Hello, Nana. Hi, it's been a long time. You are nobody Cinderella. I don't pretend to be. I am not a superwoman. I don't pretend to be. And since I stopped trying to be that wife material, since I stopped trying to pretend to be that superwoman, to be the fantastic woman who never gets angry but gets it all done, it's not possible. You think your mama did it? Your mama didn't. You were a child. You did not see the anger. You were a child. You missed the resentment. You are a child. You didn't see her depression. You are a child. You did not realize how unfulfilled she feels. These are the genuine feelings of the women who did what your mothers did. So don't expect that another sister of mine in this 21st century will confine themselves to the existence that our mothers had, because it was unacceptable. You shouldn't demand that of anybody. You would definitely not demand that for your sister from your brother-in-law. So don't dish it to somebody else's sister. You will not accept it from any man. Dish it to your daughter. Please don't do it to somebody else's daughter. Don't make it necessary for certain conversations to be had. Don't make it necessary for a woman to become radical in pursuit of their needs because you've pushed them beyond the tipping point. Realize, whilst it's possible to fix things less painfully, and please do take drastic action to fix problems. Let me love you. Let me leave you. And let me pray that you do have the guts to do what it takes to renegotiate your relationships and make them
workable for all parties involved. A relationship is not worth it if it is not suiting everybody's agenda to some extent. It cannot always just suit one person's agenda at another person's expense. You give, you take, but it's not one person giving and one person taking. Spend some time reevaluating your relationships and see how it measures up to the new reality in the era in which we live. And I do pray sincerely that you find your relationship worthy of the period. And if not, that you take very quick, decisive action to address it. Thank you so much for watching. Give me 20 minutes or so, 15 minutes. I will be live on the parents page. Hello, Sister Alaska. Hi. I will be live on the education page. The page is I Need Science. Please check it out, follow it. Make sure the notification bell is switched on so that when I come live, you do get the notification. I am going to talk parents. So, yeah, if it's bangers and mash and they cook, life is fair. Absolutely. Hiya, sis. You're right. Thank you for joining. So my education page is I Need Science. I want to talk to parents a little bit more regarding relationship with our teenagers, but more about preparing your kids for exams and the parents' roles in successful children. 15 minutes or so, we will start that. I hope you can join me. Thank you so much, and invite somebody. Tell people that I'm about to do that. These days, different topics, different pages, so everything is easy to find. Tomorrow, on my way to work, we will have our usual chinwag on the Manson page. Thank you for watching.